Greetings and salutations, everyone! My name is Fire Mage, and welcome back to Rimworld Ascension Take 2, Episode 69. If you enjoy this episode, please remember to like and subscribe, and as always, mod list is down in the description. And with that, let's get on to the episode. Alright, well, picking up from where we left off last time, what are my plans for today? Well, my plans for today are primarily going to be focused on upgrading our manufacturing. Originally, before the cold snap happened, I was planning to work more on my factories, but since we can't grow anything right now, that'll have to be put on the back burner for a bit. But upgrading our manufacturing is entirely possible, and so that is what we will be focusing on, as well as, of course, continuing our work on our Tier 2 tank, the Bulldog. Now, when it comes to the upgraded manufacturing, we are going to need to do quite a bit. Simply put, these things are not small. This is the upgraded tailoring bench. As you can see, takes up quite a bit of space. So we're going to need to do a lot of renovations if we want to use them. Now, I'm not too sure about building the stove. Even though we do have a normal stove up here, we don't really use it, as it does not make the grilled meals, which is what we primarily cook. So that one is a maybe, but we do need the upgraded machining table and the upgraded tailoring bench. So step 1 is going to actually be to get rid of these 2 chem fuel generators, as well as getting rid of this grow zone back here. We're going to have to completely expand the workshop. It is far too small, at least at its current size. We will also have to move the water tower, as it is not very useful where it is right now. In fact, we will replace it with a huge water tower, and we'll just go ahead and put that right here, I think. And then, of course, we will simply begin the deconstruction of all of this. And it would seem, while I was setting up that deconstruction, our prisoner, Gapikonin, has died due to an infection. Most unfortunate. Well, at least they can go to fueling our colony. While our constructors are deconstructing all of that, there is one more thing I actually forgot to start setting up. And that is the road up here, so we can have a top exit. Now, keeping with the 5x5 road tile, as we have been doing, is going to be a little bit difficult here. A little bit of a sharp turn. But I think it will work just fine, and by process of elimination, the door will have to go right about here. Then, of course, we will put the depleted uranium garage door right here. And that will allow our vehicles to exit through the top of the base, which will be very helpful. Now, here's an interesting quest offer from the Pact of Verbonlia. They want to deliver 615 toxic waste packs to us in exchange for pretty much a psychic neuroformer and assorted goodies. Now, that is very tempting. We don't really have a way to deal with those yet, but we can just dump them on the pirates, which is entirely something I probably will do, seeing as we are now generating toxic waste ourselves. Now, the question is, what would we accept it for? A Janissary helmet would certainly be interesting. Especially this one. Gives good toxic resistance. It could be good to give to one of our soldiers. A flat screen television is certainly nice, but we don't really need that as we can build those. An Archite capsule, what is that? I'm not sure what we could do with that, but it is a thing. And then a skill trainer for shooting. And another L-Tech skull cap. Now, I personally am going to accept for the LTEC skull cap, not because I want the actual helmet, but because it is worth the most amount of money. And I like money. Now, while we accept that quest and wait for it to come in, as you know, there is a cold snap happening. It is causing problems. One problem, which as I have been alerted to, is that I completely forgot to put any form of heating in our houses. So I'm going to go ahead and do that, now that everyone is dying of hypothermia slowly. And it's pretty simple. We're just going to put some concrete radiators in the houses, just wherever they fit. It doesn't really matter too terribly much, so long as it is in the house somewhere. And of course is connected to the plumbing network. And there we go. So once our constructors get to work on that, that should solve the heating problems. And you know what? While we're here, we might as well set it up for the research facility as well, since our people will be spending a decent amount of time in here. Gonna have to use a large radiator though, seeing as this building is quite a bit larger than the houses. And there is our reward. A couple of goodies, another psychic neuroformer, and the waste packs. Yikes, that is a lot of them. And I am immediately going to load those up in my trucks and go dump them on the pirates. So with that in mind, let's form a vehicle caravan. We will have a Locust drive 1, and Cero Crappa will drive the other. Then all we have to do is find the toxic waste, load it all up. Well, I would say load it all up, except for the fact that because that toxic waste is not in our base, we can't load it up. So let's go ahead and haul urgently. Unfortunately, I do not believe that our dumping stockpile zone here is quite large enough. So we will have to go ahead and expand it just a bit so that we can bring it all into the base. Ah, and the Gallatros on our map have now gone Manhunter. Please quickly close the garage door. And make sure that none of our people are outside the wall. And grab the war caskets, bring them up to the trench network. Wiggy, please man the anti-air gun. And this should be enough to take them out, hopefully. And you know what, while we're over here, we might as well unforbid the second anti-air gun. Might need it in the future. Alright, crossing the river. Turrets should open up any second. Oh, these things are terrifyingly durable. Oh, and they have explosive attacks. And the cold snap's over. As soon as I set up the heaters to be built. Lovely. Well, the cold snap is not affecting us much anymore, but we still have to deal with these Gallatros. That's 2 down and 3 down. That was incredibly difficult. But the anti-air gun did a really good job in putting down the suppressive fire, and that actually brings up a good point about our defenses. I noticed this in the last raid we had to deal with, but this right here really hampers our defenses, like, a remarkable amount, because it cuts off pretty much the entirety of our turret line. Our turrets are only good if you approach from the south or the east. So, to solve this problem, we are actually going to undo all of this, or at least undo it partially. We won't deconstruct these turrets up here just yet, but we will begin moving our defenses back. As you saw, the anti-air guns are really good, so we will have those instead of the turrets, primarily. And then we'll slap just a couple of turrets along here and let them do the work. But we won't worry about that just yet, and instead focus on our manufacturing capabilities. Oh no. And that would be another faction assault. I don't know why they like fighting over near my house specifically, but they do. Oh, and a lot of them are related to my people, which means if they die, my people are going to be horribly depressed. Lovely. Well, at least they have the decency to spawn down here and duke it out away from all my stuff. Please stop going for the toxic waste packs. I don't want my people to accidentally get shot in the face. Well, that's happening down there, and not something I'm going to worry about. In the meantime, though, our constructors have almost finished setting up our new door up here, and, of course, all of the new plumbing infrastructure. And I also went ahead and had Carrie use her time skip meditation ability, which I then used to get the craft time skip. I'm trying to get up to the season time skip. I want to see if I can use that to skip the long night a little bit more efficiently. I'm not sure if that's how that works, but it might. So, here's hoping. Oh, and the factions are beginning their assault on one another. So, these guys look like they have a lot of automatics and explosive weapons. Oh, versus shotguns. Yeah, I already know who's going to win this. Either way, though, I am going to get a bunch of fuel out of it, because they're going to make a whole lot of dead people. Oh, and it would actually seem the people with the shotguns came out on top in that fight. I suppose the pig people and their enhanced durability did them a favor. Well, let's let them finish up what they were doing, and if they choose to attack us, we'll fight them, but if not, we'll just wait for them to leave and then go pick up whatever scraps they leave behind. Oh, and it would seem that Cheeseman has been recruited. Very nice. Cheeseman, what are you good at? Nothing in particular, but you are a very good jack of all trades. Lovely. Well, let's go ahead and get you all scheduled up. And I think we'll have you focus on cooking. Can't ever go wrong with having more chefs. And it would seem they are leaving without attacking us, and one of them just fell down. Well, to me, that sounds like a potential prisoner. Let's go ahead, use the Allow Everything button. I would like to go haul all those goodies back into the base. That's a good amount of ammo. And let's see, who is decently fast and also a good doctor? Well, BB is non-violent, but should be able to make it there and back, and if not, Pork will simply be thrown into the chem fuel clarifier. Oh, a bulk goods trader is passing by. Well, that is actually quite convenient, as I need to buy some stuff and sell some stuff. Well, here's hoping they are willing to give us some goodies. Alright, let's see what they have. And more importantly, what they're willing to buy. Well, we can certainly sell them quite the amount of leather, it would seem. So much so, we can sell them enough to get over double the amount of money they have. Not a bad thing. Let's go ahead, buy their medicine, their steel. Might as well buy their plasteel as well. Top ourselves up on that. And I think that might just be everything. Oh, nope, almost forgot to buy their components. Can't forget to do that. And now that's everything. Although I think we are going to sell off our gray-coated mouflons. They are causing us quite a bit of problems. So we'll sell off all but the pregnant female. And let's accept that trade. Very good. That gives us a bunch of money, medicine, components, and gets rid of some of our food consumers. And speaking of the corn, though, since it is no longer a cold snap, we can actually plant food again. And that is what we will do. We are going to plant corn in here. Since this is rich soil, it should grow quickly and efficiently. And of course, we will be turning back on the rice field. And once those are done and growing, we'll go ahead and start planting all the Nutrifungus up here. Well, after checking our mules' carry capacity, I have come to the realization we can't take it all in one go. We're gonna have to do two. So let's go ahead and send that out then. We'll send Nomux and the new guy, Cheeseman, as our drivers. And we'll simply load up all the toxic waste we can carry. And we're gonna just drive it over to these pirates, I think. And dump it. Actually, no, not those pirates. We're gonna dump it on these pirates because it's on the road. So therefore we can get there faster. And we're just gonna go and dump some toxic waste next to them. And yet another bulk goods trader is passing by. What is going on with that? That's so many bulk goods traders. Mildly concerning. Feller Rose, I suppose you can come over here and call them up, and we'll see if we can't get anything good from them. It concerns me that Randy Random has decided that I need so many traders lately. Alright, let's see. What do they have? Well, first of all, they're willing to buy our last mouflon. Get that out of our hair. Very nice. Of course, we will buy even more components. More medicine. More steel. They don't sell any uranium, which is really unfortunate. That's what I really need right now. I don't think they have anything else too terribly interesting, so we'll take that, and we'll simply be spending the money to get some more medicine and components. And a little bit more metal. Can't go wrong with more steel. And the provisions packaging factory is researched. Now, if you will recall, I wanted to do that one mainly so I can get the fish trapper, because I'm curious to see how it stacks up to the aquaponics basin. If it's better, then it's a good use for the river, but if not, no harm done. I'm sure we'll find a use for all of these factories eventually. But in the meantime, I think we will research Light Alpha Mechs, because I completely missed this entire tab, apparently. And this will give us even more little robo guys to build. Like the Artilleron. A version of the Militor, which we already have, but it has a teeny tiny little mortar on it. Honestly, probably a lot more useful than the Militors. So we'll look into that once it gets researched. 100 points, shouldn't take too terribly long to research that. And there we go, like I said, won't take too long, and now we can build some more cool little robots. Next up, I think I actually want to start working on some Go Juice production, and then maybe do a little bit of Wake Up production, just to get them researched so I have it as an option, as a thing to do. And I missed this earlier, but apparently our prisoner Pork did in fact survive being brought to our prison, which is very good. But also, I did not realize this, but pigskins are the ones who have the organ regeneration gene, which is very good because I'm probably going to use that for nefarious purposes. Every 6 to 15 days, a random organ wound is reduced by 1 or regenerated. That's pretty handy. And so with that, we could remove quite a few and they would still be alive. Could be good to do if any of our people ever need organs, which I believe a few of them actually do. Like Sam, for instance, needs a new lung. So what we can do is go to Miss Pork here and simply harvest a lung. Of course, in order to ensure success, we will use industrial-grade medicine, as well as our best doctor. And there we go. Lung has been removed. Let's go ahead, haul that lung into the hospital. Sam, I'm gonna need you to come back to the hospital, please. You are going to get an operation to get a new lung. And there we go, a wonderful success for our first operation. And it would seem that our constructors have finished their deconstruction of the areas that needed deconstructing. Very good. And that means that we are now going to get to work on upgrading our manufacturing capabilities, starting off with the workshop, as I want the bigger mechanics bench. Now, to start off, we will simply upgrade the walls here, as I want to keep this initial shape of the structure. I find it quite appealing. And then, what we'll do is we'll bring this wall in ever so slightly, and then down, like so, and then do something like it, but a little smaller on this end. So keeping this same semi-irregular shape, just a little bigger. And that should allow us to fit a lot more benches in there. A lot more bigger benches, I should say. And there we go. Go Juice production is done. Next up, Wake Up production. And with that, we will be able to produce any and all drugs that we may need in combat. And there we go. The expansion is finished. Now all we have to do is go through the super fun process of setting everything up, as well as putting the roof zone up because I forgot to remove all of this. Here we go. Problem solved. Obviously, first things first, I want the large machining table right here. Next up, we will be rebuilding the fabrication bench right next to it, which should work out just fine. And then, of course, we're actually going to have to move everything around so that I can see what it is I'm working with. But once that's done, we should be able to get at least a decent idea on what we're working with. And there we go. Wake Up production has been researched. Next up, we will do biosculpting. Start working towards getting all of that fun stuff. And it looks like our toxic waste dumping crew is also now out and on the way to dump toxic waste on some Toxer pirates. Quite fitting, if I do say so myself. And they're going to be doing that for a while because we have a lot of toxic waste. There it is. The upgraded workshop in all of its glory. And also, the large machining table does in fact connect to the machining cabinets. Very nice. Maximum efficiency acquired. And now let's go ahead and slap in a concrete radiator. I think we'll just put it right here. And we will need to move the tool cabinets to be a little bit more centralized if we want everything to be able to utilize them. But that is no big deal. We'll also go ahead and build yet another armchair right here and right here. That way our crafters can sit in at least a little bit of comfort. And with that done, the next building that will be getting modified will, of course, be the tailoring shop. And this one's going to be the biggest because I also plan to expand the armor racks down here so that we can have even more uniforms. Now, due to the admittedly odd shape of this building already, and the limited build space, we're going to have to go for a little something like this, which is going to be a bit difficult, but it should allow for the large tailoring bench made of rebar concrete to slide in perfectly right here. Then we should be able to move these to either side of it, like so. Put the chair right here. Then we'll move the door itself over to here. And all in all, if this works, it should work quite well. Admittedly, it will be a little bit cramped, but it shouldn't cause any problems. And then we can go ahead and open up all of this right here. And all of this will now be armor racks once all that is done. And then for the floors, we will simply do paved tiles in here. And of course, concrete tiles out here. And biosculpting is researched. Now, next up, we will be doing bioregeneration, because apparently that's an industrial age technology. I'm not going to complain though, because with that we'll be able to heal the brain injuries we have around the colony. In the meantime though, as you can see, the new tailoring workshop is almost done. Now, one major difference that I'm going to be doing, since we have all this extra space, is I'm actually going to move the storage for our leather into the tailoring facility, as well as the cloth, obviously. That will allow us to craft our things ever so slightly more efficiently, which is something I am all for, but also it will free up space in our little warehouse, which is also something I desperately need to do. It would also seem that we have actually managed to get too much fuel and have completely filled our 2 chem tanks. So we'll also go ahead and get to work building a couple more of those, and we'll simply put them over here by the actual chem fuel clarifier. And there we go. Our tailoring table is complete, and that means we can go ahead and check off the upgrade manufacturing. Next up, we are actually going to begin the deconstruction of all of our moisture pumps, because we have finally finished all of the pumping that needed to get done. And that means that we will now be expanding over here to expand west. Now, it's going to be kind of simple, as I could just make a square, but that would look kind of bad, and I do want to try to maintain some semblance of shape in my colony. So we're going to do a little something like this, bring it down, and we will actually also, by virtue of expanding here, we will also be expanding the central region as well, which I will also be upgrading the wall for once this is done. And this wall will simply run and connect to right here. And that will be our western expansion, which will be very good, but that will have to wait for the next episode because I'm leaving it off here. We made a lot of good progress today, a lot of research, a lot of projects, and overall, just a lot of good stuff. Almost got all that toxic waste disposed of, which is good, and I will be glad to be rid of it, and I am glad to annoy the pirates, because I don't like them. We are also now working on expanding our fuel storage, because, for the first time ever, we actually have our 2 tanks completely filled. Not a bad problem to have, if I do say so myself. We also got our manufacturing upgraded, so now we can build our jumpsuits and guns even faster. But with all that said and done, though, I will see you all in the next episode.